we focus on, we call it, it's a collective or aggregation of all kinds of mobile payment processing for small and medium-sized merchants. So I think most of you guys should know that for the past decades, China has gone through a exponential growth on e-commerce, right? It started with your web browser on your PC and in your smartphone, apps in your smartphone. So usually you can pay, you buy stuff online with your mobile phone, cell phone, and then you can pay for it, and the stuff gets into your room by the delivery boy, and then but that that ends up in a situation that you have two wallets. One is your cell phone, and the other is your wallet. And you use this to pay for the online goods, and this to pay for the offline goods, right? So what if we can help all the offline merchants to accept your mobile payments? There are many mobile wallets in China, like Alipay or WeChat Pay, QQ Pay, Apple Pay, China Union Pay, blah, 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 blah. So we started our business about 2.5 years ago. We pretty much, we created a service that can help the merchants to use a single service, but to accept all kinds of mobile wallets. And then the business started about 2.5 years ago. And then, at that time, it was like 20, 30 transactions per day. Probably half of the transactions were made by me, because I need to test the system if it worked or not. And then in the 3-4 months later, we processed like thousands or tens of thousands transactions per day. As of today, we process like we're helping more than 500,000 merchants to process more than 7 million transactions per day. And the number is still growing staggering. We are expecting like 10 million transactions per day by the end of this year. So that's pretty much our story.
They are actually into the digital payment sector in China. And if you guys have some knowledge about China, you definitely know that WeChat and Alipay is actually one of the biggest platforms. They are actually helping them to monetize, like they're helping them to go to the tier 3, 4, and 5 cities. And they've been very successful recently, and they have like 7 million daily transactions, which is much more than, I think, a lot of Indian wallets in India. So this is actually something interesting, why we share this model to share with you guys. It's a very localized model in China, which can be very similar to Indian vendors and Indian situations. And it's actually not B2C, it's actually B2B model, which is actually more interesting when it comes to the growing market in India, where tier 2 and tier 3 cities, even tier 5 cities can benefit from it. So if you guys have any question, like we'll have some question from the audience in the session, and I think that will be more interesting. So coming back to you, Yukon, that for example, let's elaborate more about your model, because we definitely know I think a lot of people know about the digital payment, and definitely we know their smartphone has actually changed a lot, especially in China when it's very seamless. Like you can technically go with your phone, and WeChat and Alipay can solve all your problems. That is in the tier 1 and tier 2 cities. When we go to the, let's say, tier 5 cities, where there's a vendor who has nothing actually about they even have no smartphone, has nothing even thought about smartphone actually, but he just has a bank account. Now, how would you bring that person to digital payment? How would you have him to make money with the wallets and with the digital payment? So you guys have changed that part, right? And you guys, can you share that part, that a vendor sitting in tier 5 city, he has never heard about mobile at all. How can he benefit from online payment?
Nobody can solve all problems. We are a 2B company. So basically, our customer are the merchants. We can't solve the problems on the customer side or consumer side. So that's WeChat or Alipay's problem. And I think even in the tier 5 city with small merchants, they may never heard about mobile payment, right? But there's still some tourists, right?
Correct.
They bring the smartphone to that area. They can start to understand that is really convenient and cost saving. So actually we start with just a simple standard product which simply helps the merchants to reduce cost and reduce labor, and because they have one-time registration, then they can register on all the mobile wallet platforms, and then they have one ledger. So basically, they just need to oh, there's only one list of all transactions instead of 2, 3, or 4, right? So we started with a very simple standard service, but at this scale, there are many new stuff or interesting stuff happening. We can talk about microfinancing, right? Because for this SN, small and medium-sized enterprises, it's really hard for them to get loans from banks. But with all their cash transactions digitized, it's much easier for them to get finance from all kinds of financial institutes. And we can talk about advertisement, because usually those are all cash transactions. There's no information exchange between the consumer and the merchants. But at this time, there's information exchange on the mobile phone. So that means you can bring advertisement or marketing campaigns to the consumers. Interesting stuff are happening. Is happening on at this scale, but if I need to definitely define what our model is, I don't know. With the scale at the internet, with the internet scale, nobody knows, what's gonna happen in the future.
No, that is true. So actually, first time I came to know your model was when I was traveling in China. And I went to a small vendor, a small fruit shop. And I give him, I bought some stuff and I actually give him the 100 RMB note. He didn't have the change, but he had the QR code from your company. And so you can scan that. And I have not seen that QR code in my life, actually. That was not WeChat, that was not Alipay. But I only have WeChat wallet. So when I scanned it, it actually just gave me the option that I can pay by WeChat. So it synchronized all your wallets, plus the vendor does not have to have a wallet. He just need to have a bank account, which normally obviously everybody who's doing business have a bank account. But that's only he needs, actually. So that was one of the, something I understood, that it is very localized for China market. And the same thing happened in India, because we have the tier 5 cities, which obviously we are not thinking about it. Because for us, the online market is only the tier 1 and tier 2 cities, which is around 200 to 300 million people. But 70% of the population still lives in a very rural area. How to bring that? I think even in China, if many of us understand about China is that it has huge population, but still it's at the capacity of 70%. Still, there's a lot of people who live in the really tier 5 cities. That I think you guys have changed about bringing them on the digital payment, that they can also benefit something from this platform, right? But one quick question regarding that: how do you think that why WeChat and why Organized Wallet? How do they think you as a partner? Why don't they think it's a competition to them?
Well, well, it doesn't matter, because we serve merchants. We are not serving Alipay or WeChat Pay, right? Actually, the same thing's happening in India. Last night I went to a fruit stand. I saw a QR code by Paytm, right? So actually, they accept mobile payment by person-to-person transaction or fund transfer. So the same thing's happening in India. I don't think that if somebody goes into a fruit stand and says, I have a different mobile wallet, so can I pay with that or not? If you say no, then he's probably going to leave, right? So to them, their interest is whatever you pay, I will accept it. So I don't think that we are competing with Alipay, or we are helping them. So it's fine. It's the end users. They can define the market. It's not us or Alipay or Paytm or WeChat Pay. Right?
What do you think about the digital payment in China? For example, Like recently, that WeChat had they have taken over the lot of the banking system. Also, they also provide peer-to-peer loans. Like, how do you see that as a big advantage?
That's very good news for everybody, for the merchants and for the end users, consumers. So what we can do is that we open all the data to WeChat or Alipay. We facilitate their loan applications and loan whatever. So well, that's actually a good news for our customers. So we'll cooperate with them.
Do you also like help them to do a credit rating? Like,
well, we provide all kinds of data they need to help them to do credit rating, but we don't do it by ourselves.